Hráč,
Nie. Kde?
to čo je? Polariska, on priletel normálne.
This isn't a drama video, nor is it an investigation into the dark underground cheater scene surrounding Star Citizen. Other people have already done that. Rather, this video is about the reality of cheating in Star Citizen, as well as the design of the game that makes it one of the most desirable games to cheat in. It is my belief that if SIG doesn't start planning their gameplay design and philosophy now, cheaters will absolutely destroy this game. They've already started. It's just that there isn't really anything in the game that matters enough yet for people to care or even really notice. This game has already fostered a culture of dishonest behavior and cheating. How long have you been hearing about players duping items or glitching themselves through walls to access areas they otherwise shouldn't be able to reach? How long have you been hearing about players abusing broken mechanics, broken ships, or exploiting systems to gain an advantage over others? How about third-party RMT websites? As ridiculous as that may sound, you've probably heard it all. And let's not forget this one. Do you remember Reshade? People are still using it to get an advantage over other players by giving themselves night vision, stuff like that, so you can not see in the dark, they can see in the dark. That's very helpful on dark planets or in contested zones, as you can probably imagine. The supreme irony of SIG forcing clouds on, which annihilates performance, by the way, in the name of quote-unquote fair play, while still allowing Reshade to exist in its current form, that irony is not lost on me. It really isn't. I've been playing this game for years now, and ever since I started, this type of behavior has been the norm, often even accepted among the community. And all of this cheating, because that is what it is, by the way, is being done without the use of third-party programs. With the exception of Reshade, of course. Some of you might think, well, isn't that the point of testing early access? And you'd be correct. However, how much more of this nonsense do players and developers need to witness before realizing that this player base has cheating built into its very culture? It's only going to get worse as the game becomes more playable and approaches a finalized state where things actually matter. Star Citizen is an FPS game, and the FPS genre is, without a doubt, the most popular genre for cheaters. In that genre, Escape from Tarkov is currently the perfect game for cheaters, and it makes total sense. It's a high-risk game that stimulates the same parts of the brain that casinos do for gambling addicts. I'd even go as far as to say that the only people who genuinely enjoy EFT are gambling addicts with fried dopamine receptors, and of course, cheaters. Cheaters in that game make money via RMT. They also farm salt by stealing gear from other players, and yet none of what EFT offers cheaters holds a candle to what Star Citizen could offer them. If you're an RMT farmer, there are potentially thousands upon thousands of dollars to be made from selling resources or ships acquired through cheating. Just take a look at any RMT site for other games and see what certain items go for, and consider how those items were acquired through third-party programs. Now imagine that happening in Star Citizen. Your imagination should be able to do the rest. But Star Citizen isn't just perfect for cheaters because of RMT. It's perfect because it's a game with a community that's been steeped in controversy since its inception. People absolutely love to make fun of and harass Star Citizen and its player base. And speaking of the players in Star Citizen, they are some of the loudest whiners I've ever seen in any game. You can bet that there are people out there who would love nothing more than to download some cheats just to make those players suffer. In a way, Star Citizen is a sanctioned safari hunting ground for griefers, just stocked full of prey animals. And no, I don't consider PvP to be griefing. But it's not just all of that. Star Citizen creates the perception, and that's the key word, the perception, of class warfare. To some people, it's a game where whales, with ships costing thousands, lord over peasants who can't afford such luxury. Well, for a small subscription and a cheat download, you, the peasant, can rise up and destroy the whale. Is he in his $3,000 javelin that might take months to build or claim or whatever? No problem. Just teleport into his ship with cheats, kill him, and now it's your javelin. Do whatever you want with it, or blow it up. Will you be banned? Probably. Will you care? Nope. You just stuck it to the whale. And that is how a lot of these people are going to think. And I don't even need to go into how ridiculously tempting a system with permadeath, like Death of a Spaceman, would be for cheaters. It's such a stupid idea that the allure of cheating in that context doesn't need to be explained. It's permadeath, people. Think about it. If you can't see how all of these factors contribute to Star Citizen becoming one of the most desirable games for cheaters, then I don't know what to tell you. And I'm sure I missed a few. When people think of cheating in games, they almost always picture players who rage hack, using the most obvious and over-the-top cheats possible. These users don't care if they get banned. They just want to go nuts, ruin someone else's experience for a bit, get banned, and move on. They're not much of a threat in the long run, because they're easy to catch and usually get banned quickly. The real threat comes from the players smart enough to be subtle, and in Star Citizen, you can absolutely be subtle using the game's existing jank as camouflage. How many times do you see people post or say that there are suspect people or behaviors in the game, and some dummy comes out and goes, well, that's just a server, it's a laggy game, it's an alpha, beta, blah, 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 blah. You get the point, right? They're making excuses for it. The game's doing all the coverage. It's running a smoke screen for the cheaters. But think about this, right? Maybe you boost your ship's performance just a little bit. A few more degrees of pitch and yaw can make a massive difference in a dogfight. Or maybe you tweak the built-in auto-aim. Star Citizen already has aim assist for weapons when you're fighting other ships. What if you just made it slightly stronger? No one would ever notice. And of course, there are people using the classics, like good old-fashioned wall hacks. With how short the time to kill is and how bad the server tick rate can be, all you really need is to see someone first to win. No need for an aimbot when you already have the advantage of pre-aim. On top of that, because of the way the game is designed, how would you even know someone was cheating? PvP encounters outside of Arena Commander are so rare that your sample size is practically non-existent. The game doesn't even tell you who killed you. How would you begin to suspect someone, let alone report them? For all you know, they're just a PvP god and you just need to get good. Let me tell you something. Everything I've described here, it's already happening in Star Citizen, and it has been happening. There are 100% players in AC and Star Marine who are cheating. And those people are also doing it in the PU. And those are just the ones I know about. So what can be done about all of this? Sadly, nothing. Developers will never ever win the battle against cheaters. It isn't economically feasible. Kernel level anti-cheat helps a bit with amateur stuff, but the same people developing these boutique cheat programs that bypass those systems are also developing commercial malware, which is causing millions in damages around the world. In other words, they're good at what they do. Likely better than anyone SIG or any other game dev could possibly hire. Because if you're good enough to develop or counter that kind of software, you're simply too good to be working in the games industry. It's as simple as that. Knowing this reality, there's really only one path forward, and that path is to develop the game with the assumption that it will be compromised, and that it will have cheaters. People won't like to hear it, but the stakes simply cannot be too high. All games with the highest stakes attract the highest number of cheaters. I've already mentioned EFT. How about Rust? That game has an ongoing cheater epidemic that has absolutely ruined it for many people. And just like EFT, players often feel they have to get their own cheats just to compete or mitigate the damage being done. And in that game, you can host your own server and spectate players, something that you're going to really rely on SIG to do. And again, I want to stress this. The higher the stakes, the higher the percentage of cheaters in your game. Think about this. Have you ever played Rainbow Six Siege? Where did the cheaters go? Ranked. They avoided casual. So most people just stuck to casual. Counter-Strike? Same story. Do you need an MMO example? World of Warcraft rated battlegrounds versus regular battlegrounds. No one brought their scripted rotations or anything else into casual BGs. How about one more? The Dark Zone in The Division. Any other PvP in that game was nearly absent of cheaters. But step into the DZ and you were almost immediately confronted by one. I guarantee you that Star Citizen's version of the Dark Zone, the contested zones, has already suffered the same fate. In all of these games, and others I'm sure I've forgotten, the high-stakes modes acted as quarantine zones for cheaters, while honest players just avoided them. Is Star Citizen going to be the same? Will SIG end up creating a game where the high-security zones with minimal rewards become the refuge for honest players, while the high-reward, high-risk zones turn into cheat-ridden wastelands? That sounds like terrible design, a waste of developer resources, and frankly, a game most people won't want to play. This is a complex issue, and it doesn't have easy solutions. But I'm telling you right now, since SC is an FPS game on an FPS engine, it's going to have FPS problems, especially when it comes to cheating. And I'm not looking forward to playing a game where an entire section is effectively blocked off to me because high-risk gameplay has become a magnet for cheaters. Why would I risk it all when some guy who downloaded his skill can take it all away from me with no recourse? Who cares if he gets banned? The damage has already been done. Cheating in Star Citizen isn't a distant threat, it's a present and growing reality. Despite progress like server meshing finally being in place, the structural vulnerabilities that come with being an FPS on an ancient engine still remain. And that's what this engine is. It's ancient, it's Crytek, it's old. Can you run Crysis? That's what they were telling people back in like 2007. That's how old this engine is. So, what can be done? The uncomfortable truth is that no game can eliminate cheaters entirely, especially not one with high-stakes gameplay and real money value attached to in-game assets. Because if they lose their account, like was it $40 plus the cheat sub, they make that money back and profit from R&T. They're not going to care. That's what's killing Tarkov. Really, the one thing they can do is just design gameplay that minimizes the impact one bad actor can have on others. It's still going to happen, but they can make it hurt less. And that's really all I'm saying here. Every game we play has cheaters, but in most other games, you just queue up and find another match or join another server. You don't have that option in Star Citizen. The damage could potentially be permanent, or at least perceived to be permanent, and that really sucks. So, thank you for watching. I have a lot of hope for this game still. I'm definitely not down on it. Hit me up in the comments, let me know what you guys think, and if you've ever seen any cheaters, let me know. Send me some videos. We'll look into it some more. Take care.